Shalom, Israel. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BASHAM, YAHAWAHSHI, BASHAM, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders who teach and rule well at Great Millstone, and peace and salutations and peace and mercy to the prophets, the hopeful elect, the 144,000, and to the men and women of the 12 lost tribes of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Shalom. Back with another lesson. I'll title this one Thanksgiving, Thanks Stealing. You know, and this is one of wicked Esau's holidays. This is a wicked holiday. This is one of many, you know, that Esau has set up, and it's ultimately to mock, you know, the tribes, you know, and millions and millions of you know, the Gadites, the so-called Native American Indians, were, you know, slaughtered, you know, in this time. And Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, going back to their forefathers, have set up this day, and it's a celebration. And then you have Jake, the so-called Negroes, and then the tribes, the Native American Indians and the Latinos, they celebrate this day. And they don't even know the whole meaning behind this day. But I just want to put my 2 cents in. I'm not going to go deep into this. Just a quick hit through the power and the spirit of YAHAWAHSHI. And, you know, they've overall slaughtered the tribes. But Gad, you know, the so-called Native American Indians, you know, this is a mockery, you know, on this day. And Esau, Edom, you know, came to this land, and the northern tribe was already here. The Gadites, the Reubenites, the Issacharites, the Latinos, and the Mexican, the so-called Mexican Latinos, and the Native American, the so-called Native American Indians were already on this side, way before Christopher Columbus discovered the so-called America, the New World. You see? And King, going even further back to what, 2,000 years, 1,000 years before that, you know, when King Solomon was here, and King Solomon is the richest king to ever live on this planet. But King Solomon, King David's son, our forefather, you know, was sending, you know, the tribes over here when he was ruling to you know, to the Americas, because of the resources that were already here, you know, as far as gold and ointments and precious stones and you know, and peacocks and different animals and stuff to bring back. So, you know, the tribes already knew about this. Ultimately, King Solomon and the tribes already knew about the Americas already on this side. But, you know, going fast forwarding, you know, through 70 AD, and, you know, Israel was scattered, you see, and Israel was, the tribes were scattered, you know, into all nations, into captivity. And so, you know, Gad and Reuben and Issachar, and, you know, they were already in these lands, but for going off, you know, the Lord, you know, he sent us, you know, we went from captivity to captivity to captivity. But Christopher Columbus and the heathen, you know, came to this place, and they raped, robbed, and murdered and stole this land. You see? Because the world was made for Israel, man. for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You see, because it's Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. This planet was made for Israel, for us, for the tribes. And these other nations were put here to serve Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And it's going to be like that going into the kingdom. You see, it's going to be, they're going to serve Israel. But I'm going to get to the scriptures. And, you know, this land was raped, robbed, and stole. You see? But let me get to the scriptures. Let me go to Genesis. Let me go to Genesis 40. Genesis 49. Just a quick hit through the power and the spirit of YAHAWAHSHI. This Thanksgiving, this is a wicked holiday. Genesis 49:1, and it reads, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. And we're here in the last days. You see? You see? We're here in the last days. And the tribes are through the power and the spirit of YAHAWAHSHI, they're forming, coming back together. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You know, out there on the highways and hedges, they're doing the sit-down lessons on these different platforms, the YouTubes, the BitChute, and, you know, Odyssey, and different, you know, they're coming out preaching the word and giving the real history of the tribes. You see? Let me go to Isaiah. Because, you know, in this time coming, we're entering into Jacob's trouble, which is the tribulation. You see, the worst time in human history, and it's going to be a all full assault, all out war on the tribes, on Israel, because it tells you in Psalm 83 that to cut Israel, or the nations have came together to cut Israel off from being a nation, and the name of Israel be no remembrance. You see, and they've came together, the nations, they've consulted together, and they've you know, the whole thing is to keep Israel down, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and to the Israelites scattered into the other nations that look like the other nations, to dumb you down and to keep you from this word, and you know, to just keep us divided. But through the power and the spirit of YAHAWAHSHI, you know, he's gathering, you know, and it's prophesied, he's gathering the tribes, Jacob's 12 sons, the descendants of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's who the promise is to. Let me go to Isaiah. Isaiah 1 and 3. Isaiah 1 and 3, and it reads, it says, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider. See, the Lord said, the ox knoweth his own, the ox knoweth, the animal ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel, the people, because Israel is a people before a place. It's you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. That's Israel. Doth not know, my people doth not consider. Israel you know, we don't know who we are. A good majority of Israel is just sleep. There's a remnant that the Lord is waking up, you know, the hopeful elect, that he's coming back to deliver out of this. The rest of Israel is they doth not consider. They don't want to hear this. You see, it says, for sinful nation, a sinful nation. That's what, because the Lord judges off nations. See, it ain't just, you know, it's a handful of people. No, it's the whole nation as a people. Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You know, you've been castrated, man. You've been totally castrated and tormented and beat down, and families broken up by the enemy. Starting with Esau, Edom. But it says a sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backwards. 5. Why should ye be stricken anymore? See, the Lord said, why should ye be stricken anymore? I've beat you. I've let the nations beat you down for going off to serving other gods, the idol worship, the adultery, and eating abominable food. Just going completely off, going in the ways of the heathen. The Lord is, put us from captivity to captivity. And going back to Moses, he made the covenant with our forefathers, with Israel in the wilderness. That's where the church started. See? But we went off. We continued to go off. 6. Salakia, 5. Why should ye be stricken anymore? Ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart is faint. Look at the way the tribes act, man. Look at the way you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Look at the way you act. The women are harlots. They act like whores and twerking and gang banging and tattooed up and dressing like men. Then you have the men of the tribes. They commit adultery. They're robbing and extorting one another. I mean, they don't read the Bible. 2/3 of Jake, they're just far gone. They're killing each other. It says, the Lord said the whole head is sick. See? 6, from the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and purifying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. You just it is symbolic to Israel. Is just you're just beat down, bruised up, and you have no ointment, nothing to try to heal you, nothing. You're just beat down in the ground. And this is what's been happened since our forefathers have broke the covenant with the Lord, man. The promise, he scattered us, and we've been in the captivity. You see, we've been in the captivity. But let me go to and this is why Christopher Columbus was able to come to the and ultimately to come to the so-called America, the New World, and to murder and rob the tribes, the Gadites, the northern tribe, the Issacharites, the Reubenites that were here, the tribes, and then also the southern tribe, the so-called Negro tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and bring them over here to the Americas and enslave the tribes. You see, but the other nations also too, were involved in that. But like I said in Psalm 83, it'll tell you all the enemies of the Lord. They all came together and had a hand in enslaving the tribes and Jake, man, and just beating Jake down. But the Lord, said, he prophesied that if we break the covenant, that was going to happen. But let me go to, but this is what happened. Christopher Columbus came over here to this land and lied and raped and robbed and murdered the tribes that were over here and enslaved us. You see, so let me go to Psalm, and then you have a lot of Jakes, and the heathens, they just sweep this under the rug. This is a total mockery of Thanksgiving. Let me go to Psalm. Let me go to Psalm 49. Psalm 49 and 11, and it reads, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. And this is what the so-called white man Esau Edom, this is what they think. That their houses, their lands are just going to continue and go on forever. It says their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever and that their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. And see, it says they call their lands after their own names. They've stole these lands, here in America, that Amerigo Vespucci, the explorer that came with Christopher Columbus, a heathen from Italy, a heathen, they named that name after him. You see, and right along with these other lands too. They've named their names after these Edomites, these heathens. They've stole all these lands, and they've named their names after them. You see, that's why the Lord said, I'll read it again. It says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. You see? So this land was stolen, raped, robbed, and murdered. The tribes, the so-called Gadites, the Israelites, the so-called Mexicans, Native American Indians. You see? And they set up, colonized this place and named it after Amerigo Vespucci. You see? A heathen, an Edomite. Let me go to, let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah 2. Jeremiah 2. They've cut, and that's the same thing Esau wants to do, is to go to, outer space, to the moon and to Mars and try to set up and colonize these different, no way. You've destroyed the lands, you've destroyed the air, the water, you've bombed these different places using these weapons. Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is the devil, man. Raped, robbed, and murdered. Jeremiah 2. There's no way you're gonna go to Mars and to the moon, and that's never gonna happen. This is the end of your rulership. You've totally destroyed this planet, and then on top of this, you're finna destroy society through your greed. Jeremiah 2 and 13, and it reads, for my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. 14, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? You see, and Jake, 2/3 of Israel, man, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, you're a homeborn slave. You're comfortable with being on EBT. You're celebrating all these holidays. You don't want to come back and to your power and believe that you are the children of the Lord, a part of the 12 lost tribes of Israel. You defend Esau all day. You sit up and smoke weed and going the way of the heathen. You see, that's why the Lord said, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? You see? You get to, you're comfortable with taking the most crappiest jobs, the lowest paying jobs, and living in the worst place. You like that. Jake brags about being from the ghetto and from the block, and trapping all day and walking around with 2,500 in their pocket. A homeborn slave. Let me go to Habakkuk. Let me go to Habakkuk. A couple more and I'll close out. Let me go to Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2. What is that? Habakkuk 2 and 9, and it reads, it says, woe to him that covereth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. And that's Esau. He sets his nest on high, especially going in and out of space, setting those satellites and those space stations on high. It says 12, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity. See, and that's what Esau Edom has done. Going back to Christopher Columbus, look what you done. It says, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood. You shed so much blood and establish a city by iniquity. You've lied. You've put up all these false images of Caesar Borgia, claiming to be Jesus Christ, Jesus Cristo, and that's not even with blonde hair and blue eyes, long blonde hair like a woman with blue eyes. You don't go by the law of the Bible. In this country, Babylon, America, you don't. You don't go by the law, statutes, and commandments. You do everything is against what the Lord says. You see. And you've murdered all the tribes. You've murdered. You poison our food, our water. You put us in the worst conditions. And ultimately the stuff that that you've done for centuries now. You see. That you didn't murder, you didn't burn the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You burned us alive. Raped the children. Pedophilia. Made the men have sex with men, and every amount of evil that you can think of. You see. It says. And you've lied. And here you are in Thanksgiving, so this wicked holiday, Thanksgiving, you've tricked the whole world into thinking that, this man, you set up a holiday, Christopher Colombo, come over here and discovered America, and that's a big lie. That's a lie. Let's hop down to 15. It says, woe to him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. 16, thou art filled with shame for glory. That's what the Lord is doing right now. It's shame for glory. It says, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And this is what we're witnessing right now. This is why, you're trying to remove pages and take down, brothers' pages and these lessons of teaching the Bible and telling the truth and revealing the truth. You're trying to hide it, and want to remove the internet, because of this truth that's coming out. You see, it's just tearing you so-called Edomites, you white folks, to pieces, man. And then you turn around and you say, well, I didn't do that. That was 1,000 years ago. That was 500 years ago. But like it says, the Lord judges off nations. You see, and what our forefathers did. Our forefathers, going way back to Moses, we went off. Our forefathers went off. We broke the covenant, and the Lord told you, if you don't, go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy will tell you the curses, you see, for going off. But Deuteronomy will tell you the curses and the blessings. But for us going off, we would go into captivity, you see. Let me go to Zechariah. But you've lied, Esau. You've lied. You've lied. You raped, robbed, murdered, and you got to pay for that. And your time is almost up. This is why. The way of the world is right now, because the Lord is bringing this place down. Zechariah. I got a couple more and I'll close out. Zechariah 1:15, and it reads, it says, and I am very Salakia, and I am very sore displeased with the heathen, see, that are at ease. And you heathens, you so-called white folks, you've been at ease. You own everything. You live in the best place. A good majority of you Edomites, you so-called white folks, you live in great. You live in good prosperity. Your families, you got a good jobs. You've been at ease. You don't have to deal with the conditions that the so-called Native American Indians and the so-called Negroes, Latinos have to deal with, living in the ghetto and living in the slums, the barrios, going to the worst schools, and got to deal with crime in your neighborhood. You've been at ease this whole time. And then you walk around with your chest all poked out, and like ain't nothing wrong. And then you cover your ears and your eyes and your mouth, and you don't want to hear what happened during the slavery and during this time with Christopher Columbus, what he did to the Gadites and the Issacharites, the so-called Latinos and Native American Indians. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear it. You want to sweep it under the rug, but it's not going nowhere. You're gonna pay for that. It says, and I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction. See, and they helped forward the affliction. You did more than you were supposed to. You see, you put the tribes. You lynched, you hung, you burned the so-called Native Americans, Negroes, Latinos, and tortured us. And I mean, you've done every possible evil thing that you can imagine. You sat the Gadites, the tribe of Gad, the so-called Native American Indians. You put them, you set them on those reservations and brought them into those boarding schools, and cut their hair and changed them. It gave us new names. The tribes, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You gave us new names, slave names, made us eat horrible food. You've done all manner of evil, man. All manner of evil. You forward the affliction. You did more than you were supposed to. You see, and so you have to pay for that. It says 16. You didn't show no mercy. You didn't show no mercy. It says 16. Therefore, thus said the Lord. It says 16. Therefore, thus said the Lord, YAHAWAHSHI, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. See, the Lord, he casted the 12 lost tribes of Israel, the Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. See, he for going off our forefathers and going in the ways of the heathen. We've been in bondage, man. This is what this place, America, means. Bitter. bondage. This is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. This place, America. You know, they practice idolatry, you know, pedophilia, you know, men pleasers, extortioning. The government here, the leadership is completely corrupted. They're not for the people, and the leaders of this country, America, they're not God-fearing men. And then they got the nerve to put their hand on the Bible and swear, you know, and that totally goes against what the Lord says. You're not supposed to do that. Strike 3, you're out. You see? But it says, therefore, thus said the Lord, YAHAWAHSHI, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, saith the Lord, YAHAWAHSHI, Lord of hosts. And a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem. You see? So the Lord is coming back and he's showing mercy. And this is ultimately to the elect of Israel. The elect of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. The remnant that's came back to this heritage and doing thus said the Lord. They've set aside their wickedness. We're rehearsing the righteous acts. And to do our best to do the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave us and to our forefathers. You see, there's a remnant. 2/3 of the Lord's people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, they don't want to hear this. They don't believe this. They go in the ways of the heathen. They're sitting here celebrating Thanksgiving and Christmas and holidays. They don't celebrate none of the holy days. They don't celebrate Hanukkah. They don't celebrate Passover. They don't celebrate Feast of Tabernacles. None of the Lord's Sabbaths. None of the new moons. You totally reject that. So the Lord's going to put 2/3 of his own people to death. They're not going to make it on this side. In this tribulation, they're going to get ate up. You see, and then right along with the other nations. But salvation is for Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. The elect of Israel is going to be saved out of this. So I'm going to close out with this. Let me go to, what is that? What is that? There we go. I'll close out with this. And this is to the other nations, man. This is ultimately to Esau, Edom, and this is to the other nations. You see? This is your destination. And the Lord is tearing down this place, America. There's nothing good coming to society. You know, you're going to watch society, the Lord tear down this place spiritually, economically, you know, militarily, socially, you see, educationally. The Lord's going to tear all this down in this place, America. This place is over because it's built on lies. You've murdered the tribes. You see, and you continue to, you know, go in your wickedness. You see, and you think that you're going to get away with your new world order and your system that you're about to set up and just come after Jake, after the tribes, and even to just tear down this world, man. But the Lord, this is starting with the elites, the Jewish banking families, and on down. You know, to the Edomites, the so-called white folks, and to these other nations. For what you have done to the Lord's children, man, the 12 lost tribes of Israel, to what you've done to these Hebrew Israelites. You're going to pay for what you've done. It says, Revelation 13:10, and it reads, he that leadeth into captivity. You see, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Shalom.